Amazing audience, good morning. It's a beautiful day. Happy July 4th for those that are listening. Let me let you scoot around just a bit. We are live with the amazing Bill Griggs. He drove all the way out here to connect with us, right? Which is what, like
sure,
2 hours?
Yeah. About 100 miles.
Yeah, I appreciate that tremendously. When we last spoke, I think you were episode 1200 and something, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great conversation. We spoke about CNC routers. We spoke about you and Kingsley, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation you all have on the podcast, that you both have together. Give us an update, like what's going on. But again, let me just shake your hand on camera because I like people to see, he's real.
Oh yeah, I'm about as real as it gets. I've been doing 2 podcasts. One is the CNC Router Tips podcast, which I do solo, and that talks about computerized machines that make stuff. A lot of the things you see around you every day. The other podcast is with my good friend Kingsley Grant, who you interviewed, I think, in episode 2, maybe, of this leg of
He
things.
was the face-to-face. He was the second episode,
Yeah, and so that's Podcast by Friday, and that's where we teach people how to launch a podcast in under a week.
Yeah, 7 days, right?
Yeah, 7 days, get it started.
It's what, by Friday? What do you guys call it, yeah?
Well, it started because we were at the Podcast Movement Conference together, and we took a challenge that we would launch a podcast by Friday after we came back. So we actually had less than 7 days, but we put it all together. We put the artwork, the theme, everything. We got it all set up, got the website up, and we launched our podcast.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how can people connect with you to find out how they can launch their podcast in 7 days?
They can hit us up at podcastbyfriday.com.
Sweet.
It's pretty easy email, or they can get us on Facebook. We've got a Podcast by Friday group.
Yeah.
Just take a peek for that. I'd love to see it.
Tell me about the CNC side of what you do now, the technical side, please.
Sure. Several years ago, I started, I was making model airplane kits, and I wanted a way to make them faster. And so I started looking around, and there were these machines that could do that, and they were called CNC, which means computer numeric control. They cost a fortune, so I couldn't afford one, so I got on Google, which was early in time. I apologize to everybody. I have allergies, so my eyes are watering.
Yeah, no, he's crying because he's so happy to see me.
To see you. That's it, yeah. So I just looked at Google and tried to figure out how to make one, and there was not quite enough information, but I kept at it. And I figured out how to make one, and I made one, and then I told everybody about it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't share your information with people, it's a waste.
I agree.
You take information to the grave with you. Why do that? So that's what I did. I started talking about it, started writing about it, and then eventually I started a Facebook group, and I said, guys, I want a podcast about this.
Yeah.
Would anybody listen? And so they did, and I had very good results from those people, and I met a lot of interesting folks.
That's amazing.
That.
So did you have an ingenuity side that was always functioning leading up to this part?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've been taking things apart around the house since I was a little boy. It drove my parents crazy.
So here you go now, you get this accomplished, and the next step is you then do the technical side of so many things to share it though, right?
Yeah.
Which explains the podcast in 7 days and...
Yeah. So we try and teach people as many things as we can, because I don't think there should be any secrets, and anybody who sets their mind to something can succeed. You're a great example of that. You decided that you wanted to go and actually meet all these people all around the country. That takes action, that takes dedication. You are just amazing when I think about it. You and your very lovely and patient wife, for letting you go on this grand adventure. But people try and help you. It's like anything, trying to come out, it's 100 miles to me, but you're going to drive thousands of miles.
Yeah. And it's all good, but the thing is, it's for people, and I mean the benefit. Of course, I'll have my benefits, right? But to see people and the way they interact with the information you share with them, whether it be via CNC, whether it be via productivity or self-development, there's some inspiration that goes with it, right? Like you inspired people by letting them see that something that no one did could be done.
Yeah. Well, it's all about, this is kind of appropriate. We're on July 4th. In the U.S., that's our Independence Day. That was when, this country became an independent entity. And when I think about it, what we do on CNC Router Tips podcast is we talk about how people can use these machines to build a business, to get financial freedom for themselves, to try and come up with a new way that if they don't like their job, they can, go do something else. This gives them the independence. This is the whole thing. That's the whole reason behind it all. And the same thing with Podcast by Friday. You're trying to get your voice out there, get whatever it is that's your major cause, and talk about it. And there's no reason not to be able to do it because you don't know how, or the technology scares you, or you just have no idea. You can do anything you set your mind to.
I agree. I love that. Well said. Well said. Well, do tell us that this segment is your own unique real shoes, and I did look at your shoes and they look, again,
they're
New Balances. They're worn, right?
Yeah.
So individuals can look at your shoes and then they say, okay, what do your steps look like? And I find it pretty fascinating that the struggles of individuals aren't being shared enough. And I think it's an opportunity to create a bridge for individuals to know, in spite of my struggles, I can do. So what has been one of your struggles over the last year?
My struggle over the last year was keeping up with the success. And I know that sounds the success. I never anticipated this thing growing like it did. When I went to Podcast Movement get started, there was just a little over 1,000 people in my Facebook group. We're at 13,000 right now, and it's only a couple of years later. That's just the folks who were in the group. There are a ton of people out there who are watching the YouTube channel, who are watching all of this other stuff, and I wasn't prepared for that, and I wasn't prepared to make enough parts, because one of the things I do is to sell physical object that I make that helps people use the machine. I was not prepared for that, so I'm growing, and I'm trying to share what those pains are with people, because if you put enough effort through, you'll be successful. Just be ready for it when it gets there.
Yeah, because it's even more painful. So there's two sides. There's the pain where, hey, I want to create something that everybody wants. And then there's the pain of, now that I've created something, everybody wants it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking about the mental side, the spiritual side, the career side, the physical, the financial, the personal, and the family, and the way it impacts all of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't have your act together from a business standpoint, know what your costs are, taxes, all of that can happen.
Yeah.
You've done, many podcast episodes. People will sponsor an episode or something, and that can be, a demanding thing that you're not prepared for. If you, you start thinking about these things, you got to think about them. But you just keep going forward. Anyway. Yeah.
So when you heard that this guy from the Caribbean, now Bill's situation was pretty fascinating. Like, Bill was like, Angel, I do not want you to come onto my side because it's going to put you out of route. And he was rather passionate about that, right? Because as you can imagine, he has a huge heart, right? So he's considering, Angel, you'll have to drive east and then drive back, right? And then drive south.
Yeah.
When you heard that I was coming, that I am coming, I will do it, what did you think?
Okay. I'll be there. It's get in the car. Come on. You got to understand, folks. He was in Toronto. I was in Syracuse. He's going to Pittsburgh. So he had to drive a couple hundred miles this way just to get to me. And, you know, I met him less than halfway, but I met him.
Yeah.
So, you know, we came to the beautiful city of Rochester. It's very nice.
It really is beautiful,
Yeah. You know, this is where Kodak got started.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And a few other big companies.
One of the things we read is that there's no flirting inside this city.
There's no what?
Flirting. You can be fined for flirting. $25, right? For flirting, yeah.
Flirting?
Yeah.
You know, like, hey,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah, man, I was reading through, you know, interesting things about the city. Do you have any regrets, Bill?
Any regrets? Boy, that's a great question. Do I have any regrets? I, of course, have regrets. I regret that I didn't start sooner. I really do. You know, I'm getting up there in age, and this would have been much simpler to do when I was younger. But,
what are you most excited about right now?
Believe it or not, I'm excited. I got to tell you about a guy. I don't know if he's on your list of people that you could interview or not, but he's in Alabama. I don't know if you're going down.
I am, yeah.
There's a guy named Colin Irwin.
Mm-hmm.
He's a CNC guy. Now, he's got an advantage. He was also a male model for like the you know, big bodybuilder guy. He just built a CNC business in 21 months that is grossing $30 million this year in 21 months.
That's great. Congratulations to him. Wow.
I'm excited about that because that tells me if one guy can do something, two guys can. Now, I don't necessarily want $30 million worth of business. I'm not sure I can handle it right now. Yeah. But the point is, my audience, somebody in my audience might.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. That's, you know, watching somebody succeed successfully. You know, here, I'm giving him a plug. I don't even know him. Yeah. But it's pretty impressive. Yeah. Now, the girls might know him because he goes by Colin Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's buff.
Yeah. He's buff. He's been on major magazine covers and stuff, so, you know, he's got that advantage going.
Yeah, so he has the looks and the technical capacity. Yep. All right, that's good. Yeah. That's good.
So I'm excited to see that. Other than that, I'm just excited to keep doing what we're doing. We're going the podcast movement in a couple of weeks.
Sweet.
That's exciting. Yeah. Because I meet people.
Yeah. You like meeting people, don't you? Yeah, me too. Me too. In closing, what would you like to share with our amazing audience?
Keep watching this. This is history making. You know, nobody that I am aware of has ever gone on this extensive a trip to meet podcasters. Yeah. You know, I think that's something. Keep watching this. This is awesome. I
appreciate that. I'm glad that you are part of this history-making opportunity. I'm so glad.
Me too, brother.
I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Bill, for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.